Alright. Yo, buddy. We're back with clean jars. Come this side of it. Oh, well, nice. Back
Dad,
with clean jars.
let's see this guy's best trick.
Cleaning. Let's see that best trick. What's his best trick?
So he starts like this.
Whoa, and it launches off.
No.
Uh-huh.
He's on high.
Right. Spin move. He's rolling. Yeah. Now. Right, over the camera. So I'm gonna give these a little rinse with just some straight distilled water, no mixing. Just to rinse it down in those holes a little.
Dad, you need to put this stuff in the shade.
In the shade? No, I want it warming up. So my cells, this is the second generation, has the plastic between the plates on these, and you got that weather stripping hanging down there. Might go with the other stuff on the rebuild, but if we can see it, has the little separation between those insulators. They insulate each piece, and so you got holes down here, a few of them holes in here, and I've alternated with where the holes were so we didn't have a hole right across from each other, and so that traps all that water in there and lets the electrolysis happen. So what we're doing, of course, to go simple style, we're breaking the water down, separating it into H2O. And so when you have the designs that has free flow of water through there, you can't really hold that molecule in one spot. Sure, it happens what we call instantaneously, but in this world, if that water is trying to move that way and the electrons trying to go that way, you get a little bit of conflict. So keeping that water trapped in there as much as you can. These are the only inlets, it's pretty much in at the bottom, out at the top, traps it in there, lets the electrons do their thing, flowing straight across, plus it, they talk about edge bleed over a lot, and so you gotta make sure there's no edges exposed to each other, and that's why they say it's best. This design here has not one hole in the plates. They always talk about it's trouble to have a hole going through your plates, so that's why I designed one where it just clamps all these together, no holes at all, and so that's what gives it just pretty much a solid flat surface for all that electrolysis to happen. Now, brand new one, hasn't even been opened. Listen. Well, didn't really give it a crack like I thought it would. I'm gonna dump a little bit out. And we're gonna do our mix. This is the crucial point. So, I was saying earlier, I've messed this mix up to where I was pulling over 30 amps and melting things. Hey, boy, I'm not tightening that one right. Hey, while I got hydrogen stuff out. Goofball. It's our tie 'em up game. Something like Cowboys and Indians, I don't know. But I've settled on 2 tablespoons in a gallon. This guy, I don't know where he came from. Ooh, I don't like that. It's got a chunk in it. We'll have to really stir it up. I don't remember where I found this 2 tablespoon guy at, but it was perfect for this situation. I'm seeing now these things that I bought, the last ones I bought had a nice big mouth. We're going to go with the funnel. I always have one sitting there. We're going to go 2. There we go. And that's been giving me something under 20 amps.
Okay, then you hook me.
20 amp guys have been safe with this mix. And so they talk about the side, but we have to wait on the tie 'em up game. I'm trying to reset the hydrogen cells. But they talk about you get it too much amperage and now you've got too much heat and you're almost making steam. It's going so fast, it's just separating the water molecules from each other in the heat situation, and it's not actually separating the water molecule itself down into hydrogen, oxygen. So I'm trying to keep a lower mix, even though Sometimes I want to boost it up and, ooh, it's creating more. Yeah. So we'll see what we're doing with the 2 in a gallon. 2 tablespoons, and I use lye. I guess I should have went over that style of things. I use lye. Now, the 2 tablespoons may not pertain to if you're using baking soda or some kind of salt. You'd have to adjust those as you go. And the way I did that was I just started with a 10 amp fuse, turned it on, see if it blew it or not. 15 amp fuse, turned it on, see if it blew it or not. You know, I'm sure it's a little destructive. I wasted a few fuses. But I found the mix that keeps it under a 20 amp fuse. All right, pretty clear. Don't see anything in it. All right. And where'd my other jar go? Here we go. So, once again, it's not super harmful. It's not super scary stuff. Sure, don't touch the lye and just be careful. Oh, you should be wearing gloves. You know, been in construction for 20 plus years. This isn't the worst I've messed with. So we have lye water, distilled water. I guess somebody pulled the label on it. But it's just distilled water off the Dollar General store shelf. Put some lye in it, as you saw. Cleaned this guy up. I'll tell you what, maybe we'll do this one with a different seal, because this guy, I've been about 3 cleanings on this. I guess that's one thing I should say. These 2 cells here have been going on about 1.5 years. This is 1.5 years going. And that thing, although it's showing oxidization on the surface, it still hasn't even really started to eat into the rust yet, or eat into the metal yet, except in the stem right there. It's starting to show some pitting. So 1.5 years in it, and I don't even have to replace anything yet. I'm still just cleaning and going for it. So let me get the, let me show you guys some cool putty I found, and then we'll get back. All right, this is, for lack of a better word, I don't know the real word, metal putty. You buy it at sheet metal places where you have roofing sheet metal, and this is made to go in between 2 pieces of metal on different caps and different edges and stuff, and it is rated to hold metal together at 110 miles an hour. And so I'm here to tell you this stuff is sticky as all get out, but it gets a little gooey when it gets hot, so you got to watch out for that kind of situation of getting hot. Now, I know I said at the beginning we're just going to do this with the multi-tool and the thing, but we got one more tool involved. So I'm going to cut it down the middle, lay it out flat. It'll stop sticking to my stuff. Cut it down the middle and get me a nice skinny-ish piece to wrap around the bottom of this lid so it seals it on top of that jar. Now I have, you know, this sealing effect of this rubber coming down, but with these threads and all this in there, yeah, it's a little. So I put an extra sealant at the top that seals around this lip. And what I have in this lid, I'll show you in a second. It's not just that rubber plumbing piece that you see, which by the way is just a 4-inch cap off the hardware store shelf. The rubber cap. These are just plastic PVC and different fittings, barb fittings off the hardware store shelf. But then in there, I made a disc, that piece, out of a cutting board. That's that 1/8 inch thick, real sturdy, and that gave me something to cut threads. I actually tap and die them, and you know, use plumbers, different glues and what you want to do for sealing the threads in. Go old school pipe dope if you want. That's fine. That's it's one of those, whatever you got on hand. Put some sealant in there, put some caulk around the threads. Don't matter. Alright, we're going to see if I cut this long enough to get in there. Now, this is the crazy part with this stuff. It's got to peel the back. Once again, this is for, it's bought in the industry of, sheet metal, metaling your roof, metaling the sides of buildings and all that stuff. So it's a little pricey. It's $60 a roll or something. I have some left off a job. I started using it. Now, what I started using at first was the old school poster putty, and it worked awesome. But I can't find it anywhere anymore. So I'm gonna have to get online if I wanted to find poster putty. But where it's gonna have contact with the top of the jar. Sorry, I got my big head in the way. I'm gonna start peeling the paper, sticking it down in there. Now, it's really sticky on your finger. Maybe you gotta use a little tool for it. Sometimes I've had to just kind of poke it with the screwdriver. Man, it's really sticky. See? But gives it a good seal, gives it a good strength. And you gotta walk over it finger to finger. If anybody's played with that old rope caulk. Remember when we had rope caulk? Stuff's hilarious. Alright, pushing it in the corner where that flat lid meets the rubber. Just kind of getting that corner sealed in. Hopefully. Ooh, don't fall over on me now. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people going, you can't touch this and you got to keep it sanitary, and that's what's causing all your corrosion and all that. Yeah, I'm sure. But we do with what we got. I made this thing in a shed, my backyard. Never had a shop. Now I'm running around with a trailer that I built a canopy on. Once again, it's coming in some videos. I'll show you. Not today. Alright, made it around to the other side. Stuff's putty. Pull and pop. Alright, now I'll show you if I can get my fingers out of it every time.